I am Roy Collin, the host of the podcast. You can find everything about me by scanning the QR code there or going to roycollin.com, and you'll find my 6 podcasts: the Podfather, helping people become podcasters; the Awakening, exposing fraud and corruption but with solutions; the Crypto, all things blockchain technology; meditation podcast; speaking podcast; and the Learn Polish podcast. You can also help the show by actually making a donation, visiting the store, or helping my sponsors. I hope you enjoyed this week's show. Welcome to the Meditation Podcast. You can find all our episodes on meditationpodcast.org. My guest today, the founder of InnerCamp, is a teacher of breathwork, bodywork, and Tantra with over 10 years of experience in complementary therapies. From Spain, please welcome Alexis Alcala. Did I do it justice?
Yes. Hi, Roy. Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you. Yeah, very well pronounced. Now you can speak Spanish.
Muy bien, muy bien. So, I suppose, we're going to touch on all the different things you're doing, but I'd like to kind of understand your journey first and how you kind of got into all this. Because usually something happens in life and then we decide, okay, this isn't serving me. So I'd like to know your own journey.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for asking. So I started everything like around 12 years ago. I was working that time in Germany. I'm from Spain. And I had traveled into many countries, different countries. But I wasn't at the moment living in Germany for, I think close to 5 years, working in big companies, big corporate companies and IT companies. Because, the society always told me that if you want to be happy, you need to earn a good salary. You need to be an engineer. This is what I always was told when I was a kid. So don't waste your time studying, for example, psychology. I wanted to study psychology. And I remember the school called my parents saying, no, he should not study psychology. He's not going to earn any money, so he's not going to have any future. He should become an engineer. And then I became an engineer and I studied 2 more degrees. And I was in Germany doing what it was supposed to be a success, but I was completely broken inside. I felt really unhappy inside. I was not able to sleep well. I was awake until 3, 4 a.m. every night. I started to develop different diseases. I had digestion problems. I became a celiac person. And I felt really completely broken inside. And I started to try different things. I started to try therapy, online therapy with different people. I started to also try different stuff like meditation, like yoga, like theater, like many different things. And at some point, I had to do something with my life because I was really bad. And I was in Thailand at that moment. I was there for a few months and I was in a weekend school. And then suddenly one day someone asked me to try breathwork. And then I thought, okay, breathwork is just breathing. So I don't think it's pranayama. So I don't think it's going to really change my life. But okay, I gave it a try and I went to a breathwork session with 40, 50 people in the room. And this was really, really wild. I didn't expect that people were going to cry, yell, and it was going to be so wild. And in this first session, I was able to see a lot about my past. I was able to see a lot about past traumas. I was able to see myself in my mom's womb. I was able to find forgiveness, find acceptance, find love. And this was the first time that a method really worked for me. Because with therapy, I knew really many things about my life. I knew how to find excuses to what I was doing wrong or to my patterns, etc. But this was the first time that I was really in touch with myself. And this was the beginning. When I tried breathwork, I thought, I want to bring this to the world. I want to learn breathwork. I want to learn how to facilitate this, and I want to bring it to the world. I want to facilitate this technique to many people. And then I started to also learn bodywork, somatic therapies. I also I started to learn about Tantra. I did many practices with Tantra, many retreats. And at some point after facilitating to many people, I decided to found InnerCamp in 2018. I had my own method, and I thought that when I started InnerCamp, I thought that it was not so much about myself. It was not so much about me, like being a guru, like healing people. It was more about the techniques that I knew that with these techniques, you could really heal yourself because you have all the resources inside. So I thought, okay, people really don't need more gurus. People just need the tools, the techniques, and to apply those techniques with themselves. And this is how InnerCamp started, to teach those techniques that I had learned to people, and also to support people to become facilitators and therapists.
Excellent. And like you mentioned at the start that, it was the school that kind of discouraged you kind of following your own dreams. And usually it's the parents are kind of pushing, oh, be the doctor, be the solicitor, be the accountant, because it's like a job for life. And like, I wish that would stop, because there's so many people I know that they follow someone else's journey and then they're miserable because it's not their path. And I don't know why a parent thinks that they can suggest, and it's usually not suggest, it's kind of like, I'll pay for your education if you do this, otherwise I'm not paying for it. So it's like a blackmail as such. And I would love to see that system change, that it's like all about, let's see what the child loves, let's see what the journey they want, and they can decide themselves.
Totally, yes. I remember when I was a kid, I was reading books about psychology, and I was really interested in the human mind, and I wanted to know more. I wanted to really study psychology, and I was completely discouraged to study psychology. No, you're not going to be happy because you're not going to earn enough money. This is the message I got. And then I took this very seriously, because I don't remember, maybe 10, 12, 14 years old before going to the university. And then this was like, okay, I need to follow this instruction, because they know more than me, right?
With the breathwork, because you mentioned that you weren't expecting it. I think I kind of experienced maybe 10 different facilitators kind of around the world, different. And you mentioned you like the burp as well, that you remember that, because I remember one time we were doing it on the beach, and it was somebody else. It was like we'd done it in 2 stages, so somebody was holding you. And I remember being in the water, and we were after going through the breathworks, and it felt to me like I was going through the burp. It was weird. It was, every time I've done it, when it's done properly, it's, I don't know, could you say it's like tripping or what, but I've seen colourful visualizations. I always feel fantastic from it. And, I haven't got that here where I am, but I wish everybody was able to experience it once in their life. And I know you're kind of teaching people from it. So like, have you, I suppose, there's a lot of different types of breathworks, because as I mentioned, there's like 10, maybe more different facilities. Everyone's got their own little kind of tweak to it. They figure out something. Some people, it's kind of the rhythm in the music. Others, it's just how they tell you what way to breathe, hold the breath, don't hold the breath. Just kind of, did you go through a journey of 50 different kind of styles before you found your own one?
Yeah, I tried really many different styles of breathwork. And for example, you have pranayama, where you are more energizing your body, you're feeling better, you go to a meditative state. And it's completely different to what you experience in water, for example. There is this what we call the psychedelic breathwork, or psychedelic style, because it's like taking psychedelics to be on psychedelics, because very often we can go to the subconscious mind, we can overcome the ego mind, and then we can see a lot of stuff from the past. We can visit past memories, past traumas, etc. So you can really access the information also from the body, blockages from the body. But there is also, for example, breathwork to sleep better, to feel more relaxed. There are many people out there doing the box breathing 4-7-8, and they can sleep better. They stop taking tablets because of this kind of breathing. There is also the typical famous Wim Hof breathwork style that is not so much about going to the subconscious mind and to have all these visuals. It's more about energizing your bodies to feel stronger. Is you perform better and just at any sport, right? So it's more about at the tops of the body. It's like more on the physical layer. So in our school, we teach 6 different styles, because actually you can use breathwork for any reason. Because sometimes we get people who just want to heal something. They want to heal a symptom, a disease in their physical body. Very often people come just because they want to have this more psychedelic experience. They want to see more. They want to produce what they need to have this experience. We have also people who just want to work with the energy. For example, now this is becoming so famous, the Kundalini activation. So many people who want to activate the Kundalini energy. So this is also possible with breathwork. Breathwork can really help to activate in a safe way the Kundalini energy. There are people who come just to relax, to feel more relaxed. People who want to release traumas. It's also possible to use breathwork in a specific way, in a very safe environment, to just release traumas. And there are people who come with big traumas, with PTSD, complex PTSD, with anxiety, panic attacks, etc., just for breathwork to heal traumas and to release traumas. And this is also possible. Of course, we cannot say, okay, just breathing anyway in a connected way, and then you're going to heal a trauma. This should be follow a specific pattern. And also we need to consider a few things so that people don't, because in breathwork it's possible to get re-traumatized, like in anything in life, right? But it's possible easily if you don't have a good facilitator or if you're not following specific instructions. It's very easy to re-traumatize yourself.
What I noticed actually is when I went to a lot of events, sometimes they just went heavy, and a guy I always found lying down was the best for me. But sometimes there was big events, and people were just sitting, and I could see that they were holding back because they were kind of maybe just didn't have the people around to support it. But how do we kind of make sure, because I know that you've got the online as well, which is fantastic when you've kind of got the experience and you just want to go through this. But then my fear is, because I have witnessed people just freaking out because they've realized maybe they were raped or something surfaces. It's rare, but you do see it. How do we kind of prevent I suppose, the inexperience when they're trying to do this online, or even people that are about to start? Is there kind of a system to bring them in slowly and to make sure it's a safe environment?
Yeah, first of all, we always talk about contraindications. So, for example, if you are coming with PTSD, with anxiety, with panic attacks, we need to provide a different guidance. We need to give a different technique to those people, because the thing is that with connected breathing, you can activate yourself a lot. So you activate your sympathetic nervous system. So you are going to be very activated, very triggered. And there are people who have a huge window of tolerance and they can control this and they are responsible for themselves. And they are going to be fine for 1 hour breathing in this way. But there are people who cannot manage this. They cannot be responsible. The window of tolerance is much smaller. So there is a big risk of getting traumatized. For us, we have techniques and we can see the signs already from our side when a person is emotionally kidnapped, when a person is going to the re-traumatization, when a person is also disassociating, because disassociating is going to re-traumatize the person, the participant. So we can see it from our side and we can apply different techniques to bring the person back to safety. Okay. And also we teach them before we start a journey, before we start a session, how to avoid this situation, because it can happen. I would say around 2, 3, 4% of the participants in a group session are going through this kind of experience where they lose the control. They start, for example, screaming and they cannot stop screaming. They cannot stop crying a lot. They start moving and they are going to hit someone else. So you see that they are out of control. So we have techniques to avoid that and to bring the person back before this is too late.
I've unfortunately kind of witnessed that. But the worst thing is when you know the benefits of the breath work and how you can go in and just see beautiful visualizations, when that's happening near you, it's impossible because the distraction is gone. And like when people kind of set up the intention or kind of control it properly, I think you have a separate group for that, and it's not disturbing the people that are there to kind of enjoy it.
Actually, sometimes these kind of experiences can help people to go deeper. For example, there are people who yell a lot or cry a lot, and some people don't allow themselves to cry, to yell, to make these sounds. Even some people can have more often with women, but they can have a orgasm as well during the session. So listening to these noises can make you feel triggered. And when you feel triggered, you can process and you can understand more about yourself. And why am I getting triggered? Because I hear someone doing orgasmic sounds, or why do I get triggered because someone is crying a lot like a baby? So it's also is supporting the rest of the group to go through these experiences. Sometimes we get someone crying and then half of the group are crying 1 minute later. So it's an invitation for them to really cry and to let it go and to surrender and to really accept the emotions, because those emotions are there and they are ready to cry, but maybe they feel like, hey, I don't want to cry. Maybe they want to see me, the facilitator is going to see me, or I'm going to disturb the group. So it's actually supporting the group.
Interesting. So I saw you got accredited by the Complementary Medical Association and then a member of the International Breathwork Foundation. You might just kind of let me know what they are, because I haven't heard of them before.
The International Breathwork Foundation is an organization that is trying to make breathwork a standard, is taking care that what we are doing is right for the facility, for the participants, and we're not doing something wrong. So they do many events to help to do the breathwork, to facilitate breathwork in a better way. So they have some rules and some standards. And the Complementary Medical Association is an association that review all our content, reviewed also our programs as well. So it's also supporting all complementary therapies. So they are also supporting that what we provide has high quality. And we are also accredited by the CPT organization. So complementary is like to gain like extra points for continuous training. And they also did a very strict audit of all our programs. We had to send all the information, all the content to them. They asked us also to change a lot of content as well to improve the content, the videos, the articles we are providing to the students in the courses. And so they are basically there supporting us to make a better work, because this is not like regulated. It's not like you became a doctor at the university and then everything's regulated, so you know what you're going to study, and everyone is having like some specific standards. But here with breathwork, like with yoga or like with meditation or any complementary therapies, there is no regulation. So it's important, I think, and this should be also in the future, is that there is more regulation and we do something that is safe, because I can see also many facilitators out there who didn't get any training and they're facilitating breathwork, and then they're re-traumatizing people. I can tell you one example. I was in Bali in January this year, and then I went to a breathwork session. It was re-traumatizing for me, and I have a lot of experience. I have more than 12 years of experience, but it was really re-traumatizing for me to be there. And I felt like very vulnerable, but also the facilitator didn't understand. He was touching in areas that should not be touched, or making sounds that shouldn't be done, or really creating a non very safe space. So this is a problem, because if we get more facilitators like this one, then people are not going to trust breathwork. They're not going to come back to breathwork, and they're going to harm also many people out there. So,
and like, I see the benefit in one side, but the other side is the fear of, one, it becomes with these organizations only about the money, and two, it gets infiltrated by the bad boys, which they seem to do on everything. Is there ways of making, because usually it's kind of guys that really care come together and create these organizations, and is it like, how are they actually, I suppose, making sure that it's staying for the betterment of breathwork as opposed to the betterment of their pocket, or they get bought out and the wrong people come in?
I have seen organizations that only do it for the money, or just because they want to. I have seen schools who create an organization just to accredit the programs, and then to say, okay, have an accreditation according to this organization that is actually created by them. I have seen this, but I have many proofs. For example, the International Breathwork Foundation is doing many actions, is doing many workshops. They have a conference every year. They do really a lot of work. They don't charge so much money. So you can see from our side that really what they are doing is to support people and to support breathwork. Okay, the same with the Complementary Medical Association or with the CPT as well. You see that what they are doing is really to support people and not to earn money.
Brilliant. So, like the Tantra, I mean, you might just touch on that because you've studied on that. I mean, I've went to one event where they were doing that, but for those that have never understood it, because some people just think it's just about sex, but it's not. Mm-hmm. You might explain exactly what you're doing with that.
So Tantra can be lived in different ways. So there are different approaches to Tantra. So Tantra can be, for example, about meditation, can be about enlightenment, it can be just about your solo practice. can be also the practice with your partner, can be the practice with sexuality. Sexuality is 5% of Tantra. But okay, you know that tantric sexuality is about finding enlightenment and also finding spirituality in sex. And this means that when you are having sex with a tantric approach, then you can spend hours and hours and you can have a lot of pleasure and you can reach what we call the full body orgasm. So this is why people, when they hear about these concepts and they hear about what can happen, the effects of having tantric sexuality, they can be very attracted to the tantric sexuality. But as you said, there is a lot of misconception about Tantra, about what it really is, because Tantra is much more than that. Tantra is about seeing everything as sacred. It's about seeing the spiritual side of everything around you. It's about seeing the goddesses that everyone has inside. It's about accepting your shadows. It's about meditation, mindfulness. It's about balancing masculine and feminine energy. It's about accepting your feminine and masculine energy. It's about forgiving. It's about healing. So Tantra is really a huge framework about how you can live your life. And what I love about Tantra, and this is what really attracted me a lot to Tantra, is that Tantra is not so strict as a religion or as a cult or as a system. So in Tantra, you have really the freedom to do the things according your own way. So Tantra is, for example, when we come to desire, if you ask a Buddhist monk, the Buddhist monk is going to meditate for hours, days, weeks, months, and years to try to somehow hide this desire, to hide it, to not think anymore about this desire. In Tantra, it's different. In Tantra, we say, okay, I have this desire. It can be any kind of desire. It can be sexual desire. It can be desire to eat a lot. It can be desire to do something that maybe is not so good for your health, okay? But in Tantra, we accept this desire. We say, okay, I'm a human being, so I accept that I have this desire. I do it. And then in the meantime, whereas I'm satisfying my desire, I'm conscious and thinking, okay, who am I? Why do I need to have this desire? Why do I need to eat, for example, from the Nutella bottle? And why do I have this wish that is maybe not so healthy for my body? So Tantra is about accepting that you have those shadows. Tantra is about accepting that you have those desires. And it's about being conscious. And this is what I love really about Tantra, that is giving you permission to be human, to be you.
And I just curious, because a lot of this comes from kind of India. Has it any connection at all with the Kama Sutra? Because I know that's on positions and everything, but it's on energy. And I actually got it and read it. And I was kind of disgusted with it in the side that there's it's a strange book. It's don't be sleeping with someone who's really dark and all this kind of stuff. And it's if they have a disability and everything. And I was this is weird. Whereas it was always pushed, and I always thought I must try to get around to reading this. And when I did, it was this isn't right. And I'm just curious, have you ever read it? And has it a connection with the Tantra?
No, it's not connected to Tantra, but there are also different approaches to Tantra. And there are approaches that might sound for example, there's one approach to Tantra where people are almost naked, but this is not so common. This is something that you can find still in India, and you found more in the past people who get almost naked and they try to face in a very hard way the shadows. So for example, they eat something that they don't like, that is very disgusting, or they are completely or almost naked, or they do stuff that is going to put them in an extreme position so that they face these fears, they face the shadows they have, etc. But this is not so common. Tantra can be much easier, can be much more normal. And I think it's very important because sometimes, there are also cults. There are also Tantra cults where you go there and there are sexual predators and they use the name of Tantra just to have sex with clients or with participants. And this is happening. And there are many cases of people doing this. They use the name of Tantra. It's I have heard really many cases of people saying, women mainly saying, yeah, I met a guy, and then this guy told me that he wanted to practice, he wanted to do a tantric massage on me. And then I said, okay, this is Tantra, it's spiritual, I'm going to accept. And then it was more than a tantric massage. They wanted to have sex. So they used the name of Tantra to go and to look nicer, but look like good, and it's actually not like that. So I think when we choose a Tantra school, when we choose a Tantra retreat, whatever, we need to be very careful, and we need to really read and understand where this is coming from and what they're going to do, because there are also retreats where people, where the facilitators cross the boundaries of the participants. And I have heard also many retreats where people are forced to do this or to do that, or to get naked or to touch someone, and not to be able to say, no, I don't want that. I don't accept that. It's not for me. So it's important in Tantra, if you are really doing Tantra, you have the choice to say no to something that you don't want, or something that you have your boundaries, you have your personal space. If you don't feel comfortable, it's also tantric to say, no, I don't feel comfortable. I don't want to be naked. I don't want to touch you. I don't want you to touch me. So part of Tantra is also to learn how to set boundaries and how to make them be respected as well. So unfortunately, there is a lot of going on about Tantra, and people need to be really careful when choosing that tantric event.
And I think it's not even kind of the Tantra. There's a lot of kind of events created, and people, whether they kind of done a weekend course or whatever, but see an opportunity, and then they feel like, oh, it's freedom, it's liberating. And I think a lot of people actually go away more damaged than when they arrived. And unfortunately, they don't kind of go through kind of regulation and making sure that everything's good. And as you were saying, where you can actually say no, because if you're in a, if they do a 10 people retreat and 9 people are like getting naked and thinking this is all great, you feel like the outsider and you're wrong. And that should never be the case. It should be, the boundary should be set up at the very start.
Right.
So you do like the energy work as well. So I'd like to know your kind of journey on that and what exactly like you're doing it yourself and how you're teaching people that.
So this is something I have done. I have learned from different teachers, different schools. And I learned first to activate my first experience with Kundalini energy was in Japan. Like when I started with breathwork, it was like 10, 11 years ago when I started with breathwork. I started to learn and study from different people. And then I remember I was there in Japan one day, and I was practicing breathwork. And one day I played just some music in the background. And this is why we don't recommend to do a long session without a facilitator, at least the first sessions. And I was there alone in my apartment, and I had a playlist, like few hours playlist, listening there in the background. And I started to do a lot of like breath work, and I started to move a lot of energy. And I felt like I saw energy, I saw light, I felt like fire inside of me. I felt this fire coming from my root chakra. And then every time I was inhaling, I was moving this energy. And I loved the experience. I loved so much this experience because it was like connecting to something big. But I did this so much with myself. I was there maybe 2-3 hours. I didn't know how long. And this was really helpful for me because after I finished the session, when I decided to stop, I felt really sick. I felt like a hangover, like drunk, completely drunk. I went to the shower. I was not able to take a shower. I went to bed to sleep. I was not able to sleep the whole night. So I was really sick because of this experience. And many people out there are doing this kind of Kundalini activations. They go to places where people are just activating the Kundalini energy and they feel a lot of energy. It's really cool because you feel the energy and you start moving, you start shaking, you start vibrating a lot. But this is not done very often in a safe way. So the way I learned after a few years is to do it in a safe way, where you prepare your container, you prepare your body to move this energy that is very powerful in a soft way, in a way that is not going to be harmful for you. So this is the way we teach energy activation at InnerCamp, is doing this in a safe way, using different techniques, using also the breath work, using also asanas as well, using different techniques so that you don't depend on a guru or a master outside, so that you could do this for yourself. So always when we teach people how to use those techniques, we teach them also how to reach the self-healing, how to do this by yourself, not only depend always on a facilitator the rest of your life, right? So this is the work, how we do it. And also because when working with energy, many people think that, okay, it's just about moving my energy, but they forget about meditation, they forget about trauma healing, They forget about any blockages, any shadows that they have. So it's important to also work on these shadows, on these blockages, on these traumas before we move this energy, because it might be unsafe to do this work when we are not ready for the work.
And with like psychedelics then, just curious, your own experience, did you go through that journey, and is it something that you kind of encourage the people to kind of go down that route as well?
Psychedelics never mix with breath work or with the practices or with energy activation. I know about many experiences, many people experiencing really many transformative experiences with psychedelics. I really believe that there should be more research on psychedelics, because I believe that psychedelics can help many people and can heal many people. Everything was stopped in the 60s, 70s, on all the research. For example, one of the founders of Connected Breathwork, that is Stan Grof, he was using LSD for his clients. So he was a psychiatrist, and then he was using LSD for many cases of people who were not able to heal, that were not healed in mental health hospitals by science, actually. So he was using LSD with those people, and people were really healing. And at some point, LSD was banned, and then he started to use breathwork, and breathwork was very powerful, but for sure not as powerful as LSD. So I believe that if we do more research, we could really heal many people. We could really help many people, but always in an introspectional way, so not as something recreational. So I wouldn't use psychedelics in a recreational way just to have fun, but more to do introspection. I think there's a lot of power, but still there are many contraindications as well. So people can get very sick when trying psychedelics and having any contraindications. So we also need to be more careful, because you take psychedelics and then you need to wait for the effects to pass. In breathwork, it's different, because you come to breathwork, you start breathing. If you face a trauma, you just come back to your normal breathing, and then you don't face the trauma anymore. You are back. You are safe. With psychedelics, it's different. You just need to wait until the end. Maybe if you have a bad journey, or if you don't have a proper facilitator next to you, or you're alone at home and train psychedelics, so it might be a bad experience.
I mean, I tried DMT and I had a fantastic experience with that. But I remember years ago, I went to my brother in Holland with my friend, and we had heard of space cakes. And we went into and we got the space cake. It is like a meringue cake. And we just ate it. And then we were like, because nobody educated us. And we were like expecting it to be like that. So then we got another one. And then we got another one. And then we said, this isn't working, let's go drinking. And the two of us were out of our head. We were lucky we were able to get home. We were just, and like, I know that's a mild kind of situation, but that goes on everywhere. You've got people who think they know what they're doing, and people go in blindly kind of going, I'm here, or the guy says he's a shaman, and you really need to do your research before you do this. And just curious with the LSD, because I mean, I didn't do it. I haven't done LSD, but I know that when I was going to clubs and stuff, that was a big thing in school, that people were doing LSD, going into nightclubs, doing techno dance and stuff. Is that the same LSD, or was there different versions of it? Because I had heard that they were getting good results. And when they ban something, it's usually because it's kind of affecting the market, where they have customers for life and the whole kind of prescription for life and stuff like that. So obviously, if the guy was getting results, but I'm just wondering, is it a different version, or is it LSD? Because I don't know much about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I also don't know so much about LSD, to be honest. So I know that when people took LSD with Stanislas Grof, they were able to go very deep inside. They had a lot of introspection. They were able to connect to some kind of collective wisdom, and to see a lot. There are really many people reporting to be able to connect to wisdom of the plants, wisdom of the animals. So they were able to understand things. They were able to see signs they never saw on a book or on a movie. So they were able to connect to something really huge. And not sure about how LSD in clubs was in the past, and what kind of experience. I can imagine if they connect to this collective wisdom, can be very interesting in the club, but not sure if there are any differences.
Just finally, right? Because I've looked through your website and your course, and what I love to see is that you've kind of broken it down, and it's like 60 hours here, 40 hours there, 20 hours there. Whereas there's a load of things and people, it's like a Udemy course there or something like that, where it's like 2 hours or 3 hours. Like when I see something like that, I know that that's not something that you create like that. That's years of work to make sure that this is actually done right. So I suppose you might just let people know what they actually get when they sign up for it, because it looks very professional. And when I see that amount of hours, I know that, yeah, you're not messing around.
Yeah, we have done this kind of work since 2018. So we have refined our programs already many times. So we are always improving. We are getting a lot of feedback from the students. We have trained more than 2,000 people. So we are always refining what we are doing. We are refining the content. We are refining the message we give on the website. Sometimes we get feedback, but this is not according to what you mentioned on the website. Oh yeah, we made a mistake. So we are always improving outside, but also internally in the programs. So this is normally our programs are 300 hours programs, and this is normally what people like the standard duration. There are people who come with a lot of experience, who have done a lot of introspection, have done a lot of stuff, and then instead of 300 hours, maybe they need 200 hours. And then people who come and they want to know more, they want to do more research, they want to understand things better, and we give many references, many books, so they spend even 500 hours to complete the program. So it's going to be up to them also, how deep they want to go to inside the different practices.
Thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. You might let people know how they can get in contact with you.
Yeah, they can visit us at InnerCamp.com. They can also find us on Instagram, InnerCamp as well. And we have virtual workshops. We have therapy programs. People can become bodywork, breathwork, Tantra therapies, and use all these techniques. And we are a team of right now 20 people. So it's not only the wisdom coming from me, from my experiences, also from the team. So I'm very lucky also to have very professional people in the team and with a lot of experience who bring also the knowledge to the programs. So it's a program that is made by the team. We have also a research department that we created in 2021, so that is auditing the programs, is bringing more and more science, because we love spirituality, but I always believe that science is something that we need to pay attention to. It's not about, okay, I'm just thinking about chakras or the spiritual stuff, and then I don't pay attention to science because it's against me or whatever. So I always believe that we need to pay attention to science, and we should work together and we should grow together. And there are more what I saw, for example, if I compare InnerCamp with 2018 and now, when I started in 2018, I got only people who were like more spiritual. So people who were yogis, people who did only meditation, people who really didn't appreciate so much science. And now I can see psychologists coming to our programs. I can see neuroscience people. I can see people coming from science who really don't believe in chakras. They don't believe in past lives. They don't believe in energy, but they are doing our courses because they know that there is some science background and they can understand what is going on. So I think that this is the future, is to combine all the resources we have so that what we do is more powerful, there is more healing, and also we don't harm anyone.
And when there's science like that, it's proper science instead of the science that's paid by people to kind of say, this is the science. But I think it actually complements it and it encourages people to do it, because when the proper science is behind it and they actually can measure it and go, hey, this actually works, we've done all the testing, then it's kind of, people go, oh, it's no longer woo-woo, because a lot of people think, there's no way this works. And I think it's going to benefit all the people that have actually decided to take this path.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, perfect. Listen, Alexis, I make sure I put all the links both on the audio and the video. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Roy.
No problem. So that's all the meditation podcast. Make sure to give us a thumbs up, 5-star rating, share with your friends, and share this episode because a lot of people will benefit from it. If you didn't like any part of it, or if you did, make sure you comment. It all helps. And once it's not abusive, I leave it up. And until next week, take care. So I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. As mentioned at the start, you'll find my 6 podcasts on bio.link/podcaster. And also, if you'd like to start a podcast or do a podcasting tour, you'll find the information on that or on the QR code that's there. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, 5-star rating, and share with your friends because it really helps. Until next week, take care. So I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. As mentioned at the start, you can find my 6 podcasts on roycollin.com or scan the QR code if you're looking to start a podcast or do a podcasting tour, help with that. Also, if you're looking for a virtual assistant, we also have that service. And you can help the show by visiting the store, supporting our sponsors, or making a donation. Until next week, take care.